everyone, welcome to the B-Side Breakdown. My name is Brett Johnson and I am your host. This is episode 36 of a podcast where I talk with other artists, musicians, and songwriters about a song they've written that's meaningful to them, that they want to chat about and get deep into the why behind it. But first, I need permission from them to play it for you in its entirety so you can hear it before we have our chat so you know what we're talking about. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. Actually, I'm going to be talking with Scott Pasch from DCxPC Live Records about a song called Call to Action from a band called 504 Plan. Now, the story here is that 504 Plan is a high school band, and Scott is putting out their record. And so this is a song from their record. But I'm going to be talking with Scott about it, not necessarily the guys from 504 Plan. Okay, make sense? Cool. So let's get into it. Here's the song Call to Action by 504 Plan.
Call to action. This is a call to action, cause Trump just won the race. A lot of shit floating around, you gotta stay informed. Just in case to all the kids like me, who are scared of what might come to be. You got the freedom, you got the choice to create change. So use your voice to change you. You have a voice. To the wasted you. You have a choice. To the pessimistic. You have a voice. Be realistic and make a choice. Transition to wake up and realize that you have to make adult decisions. So to all the kids like me who are scared of what might come to be, you got the freedom, you got the choice to create change. So use your voice to change you. You have a voice. To the wasted you. You have a choice. To the pessimistic. You have a voice. Be realistic and make a choice. To change you. You have a voice. To the wasted you. You have a choice. To the pessimistic. You have a voice. Be realistic and make a choice.
All right, and that was Call to Action by 504 Plan. We're going to take a quick break and come back and talk with Scott Pasch from DCxPC Live Records about the band, about the song, and anything else he has going on with the label. So stay with us and we'll be right back. All right, and that was the song Call to Action by 504 Plan. I have Scott from the label DCxPC Live here to chat with me about it. Scott, thanks so much for taking some time this evening to talk about this band, the song, and what's going on with you.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. I appreciate it. You want me to just start? Do you have a specific question, or how do we roll with that?
No, I'm just interested in, tell me about, so transparently listeners, this is the first time I'm foraying into the space of not talking directly to the artist, but I'm talking to the label rep, which is, or the owner of the label that's putting out this record, or however we want to say that. Scott, feel free to correct me and I'll edit this again.
that works fine. That's cool. Appropriate. So
tell me about it.
So like these are a bunch of young kids. They're juniors in high school in DC, and as per my record label's name, my heart and soul is in DC. Cool. I was part of that hardcore scene from the early 90s, like 91 all the way through like 2008.
Awesome.
And like out of nowhere, these kids just sent me a message and said, "Hey, we like what you're doing. We bought some of your records. Would you ever consider working with us? We're just a small high school band." And I listened to their demos. And I watched some live video. I was like, fuck. This is good.
Yeah.
This is good. And I live in upstate New York now, like just an hour south of Albany.
Sure.
And then they're coming to Brooklyn. So I did like a 5-hour round trip to drop my kid off at my mom's in Pennsylvania. So my wife was out of town to go see them at some like basement show in Brooklyn. And they just killed it. I was like, yeah, let's do a record. So that's where this song comes in. It's a studio song, which is interesting because I normally do live albums.
Sure. Oh, okay. Got it.
But I have a concept called Live and Dead, where it's live on side A and studio on side B.
Oh, cool.
So I'm also a history teacher. I was political science major, very common in DC area.
Sure.
And I'm getting my PhD now in civic engagement.
Okay.
And this song is all about politics.
Yep.
And it's a bunch of DC kids, and they were like, "Look, Scott, I know our album isn't going to be out for a couple months still. We're still mixing the live side. Can we put this out now? We need to put it out now. What's happening in this country, it needs to happen now." And like, there's like, I'm an old person. I'm almost 50. It's like, to me, it's like, oh yeah, a song isn't going to change anything. But then again, it's like, how much did songs change me, from propaganda to like conflict to bad religion? And I'm like, these kids, like, they're so emphatic about it. And I was like, yeah, fucking, let's just get it out there. Let's put it out. Let's do it. And the song is just great. And it's pure old like 80s style
It
DC
is.
hardcore with a little bit like maybe 7 seconds in there.
Sure.
And I love the lyrics. I love the honesty of it. Like this is like how he like honestly feels. He's not putting up a front. He's like, I think kids in my area are apathetic and think that because it's over, there's nothing else for them to do. They lost the election and now they just have to sit back and do nothing. And I think people can do more. And I just love the honesty of it. Like it's reminds me of like when I was younger and like I would read about like Revolution Summer and all the stuff that like the Discord bands did in the 80s.
Sure. No, that's awesome, man. And it's so I have to tell you, right, taken back by just listening to it. I'm like, wait, okay, because not knowing prior to the call that we're having that, okay, wait, this can't be Scott's band, because it just didn't sound like the energy of it is exactly high school. I'm like, unless this is, an older thing, but it doesn't sound like. I don't mean that in any
No.
kind of negative way, other than it is so full of piss and vinegar and the awesome kind of that fire that, I remember just being in high school in the Minneapolis, hardcore scene that I used to frequent and be a part of. Like, it was really fun to see like those bands and the ferocity they had in the punk and hardcore side of it, no matter what. And when everybody would come together and just like, there was so much energy and I miss the Sunday matinee shows that were all ages where everybody could kind of hang out, and do all that. But this sounds like, it just reminds me of all of that. And it's that, it's that focused raw energy that just sounds amazing. So I'm super stoked to hear it. Thanks for sharing it with me.
Yeah, and it was actually recorded. So when I did the process with them, like, well, where do we record the studio at? Like, we've never recorded except for like in our basement on like a 4-track.
Right.
Like, I know some studios. How would you like to record with like Don Zientara from Inner Ear? Like Inner Ear, like Minor Threat, Fugazi. He's like,
Right.
yes, you can do that. I was like, yeah. I mean, his name's in the phone book, but like, I have met him. My old band recorded with him after I left the band. But like, if you want to talk to him, he still records. I know his studio shut down, but he's still doing bands in his basement. And like, he still prefers, if he can, to record bands in their most natural state, which to him is usually practice. So he tries to record them as live as possible with as few overdubs as possible,
For sure.
which I think will fit your style very well. And so they were like ape-shitting over the fact that they got to record with Don Zientara.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So is this officially out yet, or when does it come out?
So we have already mixed the entire studio side, the dead side.
Okay.
The live side is currently being mixed, and then they both have to get like mastered for vinyl, and then I've got to send it out. So my guess, sometime this month, I'm going to send it to press, and it probably takes 2 or 3 months. So let's see, it's early February, so I would say April, May, it'll be out. And
Cool.
the kids are planning their first tour. And I did a Zoom call with them, and it's funny. I'm calling them kids, but like they're
Sure.
under 18,
Right.
and they at first were asking me to help book their tour for them, and I was like, "Well, what do you have in mind?" Like, "Oh, we want to go from DC. We want to do a kickoff show in DC, hit Pennsylvania, hit New York City, hit Massachusetts, and then go to New Orleans." I'm like, "I'm sorry, what the fuck did you say?" And I was like, hold on a second, hold on.
Hey, we've not done this before. It's
Yeah.
like,
I was
wait. No. It doesn't work like that. That's a bad idea.
So like that was a text message they sent me. I said, we need to have a Zoom call to talk about this. So we had the Zoom call, and I'm like, first off, you don't play DC or Baltimore because you can play DC and Baltimore anytime, and you don't need to
Right.
waste one of your 12 days on your tour doing that.
Right.
All right. You've played New York City at least 2 or 3 times that I'm aware of. So you obviously can do that as well. You said New Orleans. Why? And they're like, we really, really want to go there. I was like, so that's your destination. That's your midway point. So we're going to tour to New Orleans, play there, and then turn around and come back up. Like, oh. And we play shows on the way. I was like, yeah, play shows on the way.
That's so great. Oh, that's super fun. What a fun adventure that those dudes are going to have. That's awesome. So the inevitable question, just being the style of the band and what's going on is, are you, okay, I'll say this. Are you formally booking them? Like, are you actually acting as their booking agent in this capacity? Or are you just helping them book this first tour?
Well, I was going to, but then after the conversation, I really thought about it, and I told them that I have a spreadsheet with like 2,000
Right.
bands, 1,500 venues and promoters that I've collected over the years of my own work. And I was like, I'd rather like give this to you like I had Book Your Own Fucking Life when I was a kid,
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
and you just need to do this yourself.
Right.
Like I can help you if you need to. I can highlight the bands and the promoters that I know personally that you can name drop me if you want to. Um, but I think there's a joy in booking your own show for your own first
Oh
tour.
yeah. Yep.
For good or ill, whatever happens, even if you play to like no one or you get there and the venue's been burned down or whatever the problems are, like there's a joy to that.
There is.
And I don't want to go like, oh yeah, Scott booked our whole tour for us. I'm like, well, then what are you going to do when I'm not around the next time?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
Gotta
you
learn.
should book your own first tour. And
Definitely.
so they told me they're starting on it. They had to get their parents' permission to even start the process, which is great.
Yeah. No, that's funny. That's
Because none of them can
awesome.
rent a van. They're all under 25.
Sure. Sure.
So
That's cool. So I hope that, I've interviewed a handful of bands that play Fest, and I really hope that they catch the Fest folks catch a wind of these folks or catch a whiff of 504 playing and bring them down, because it would be so much fun to see them
I
play in
always send an
Gainesville.
email off to Tony Weinbender, who does
Yeah.
all the stuff, and say, these are all the bands on my label. These are the ones that have already played Fest before. These are the ones that I think you should look at as well.
Yeah.
Then sometimes he bites, sometimes he doesn't bite.
Sure.
That's okay. He probably gets thousands and thousands of emails.
Oh, I'm sure. No, I'm sure. So then if this isn't coming out till March or April, I'm happy to pause the release of this episode to coincide kind of with that. So if you want, and I'll edit this part
Sure,
out.
that'd be
I'm
great.
just
That's very
saying, like,
kind of you.
oh yeah. Like if you want me to kind of time it so we can, because that's the whole point of this, really. I
Yeah.
mean, in the spirit of DIY and like let's all kind of grow bigger together if we can. Like let's do that, like naturally and organically. It's like I want to be able to make sure that whatever tool this can serve to help them along and create exposure for them and their fans and new people and everybody else, that they get it, right? And that's the whole fun and joy of this for me, is then I get hit up by, Scott, who listened to the Jeff episode and is like, hey man, can we chat about this? I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like that's the whole point of this. Like, yes. So, I
And,
mean, if
and I
that's
have
cool.
known Jeff for over 20
Oh,
years.
that's interesting. That's fun.
So he used to play in a DC band called VPR.
Okay.
He was from Pennsylvania, but he was going to college at American University where my wife went to school. And he joined that band, but he was also playing in the Boyles. And then when my old band, the Overprivileged, toured Europe, he was over there in, I think, Berlin or somewhere studying abroad. And he came out to like a couple of our shows there.
Fun.
So I got him to play. Divided Heaven actually played my old school I used to teach fifth grade at.
Oh, wow.
It was a secular school, but owned by Mormons.
Interesting.
So I got him to be able to play the show before he was playing at like a club later that night, and had what's his face, Joey from the Briggs, also with him.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So
Right on.
and two of those kids are now in a band whose record I've done two records for that band. So two kids that saw him are now in their own like punk rock band.
That's awesome.
So
No, it's fun to see how that all gets passed along and how that's all intertwined. No, that's super cool.
and that's one of the reasons I want to work with these kids, because even when I talk to them, they're like, we're all like graduating in a year and a half and we're probably gonna break up. Like two of us are applying to go to Berkeley. I was like, okay, or you're gonna go on tour, realize this is all you ever want to do,
Yep.
and you're gonna finish your senior year of high school, and you're gonna ask mom and dad to let you defer, or you're gonna tour in the summer. I was like, how many bands go to college and still play? I was
Yep.
like, I'm not even stressing. And if you do break up, that's fine. The album was worth it anyway.
Yep.
It's a snapshot of history that mattered. I think your band
Absolutely.
matters, so I'm going to put it out.
That's awesome. Well, I'm grateful for you doing it. I mean, it's really cool to hear it and to hear again, just that's out there, that, there's people like you that are still working with, young DIY bands that want to put out music and go on tour and do the deal, and to see all that still happening in kind of the crazy way that things generally operate today, which is, I mean, yeah, you book your own fucking life, man. I mean, right? It's like, I just think
That was
back,
my life,
I
literally.
know. It's like Musician's Guide to Touring and Promotion pre-internet. It's like, okay, so how am I Right. Which venues, like I identified the 5 major things in every city, like the indie record store, the indie radio station, the independent rag that will put it out, what venue, and who is the best band that I should try to book a show with. And then
Exactly.
just constantly networking in every single city with all those folks. And right, I'm not trying to go play Hudson, Wisconsin when I live in Minneapolis. It's like, no, first stop Chicago, first stop Kansas City, and then we're on our way to Texas. It's like, yeah. And, it's fun that you brought up like, that no, you guys go book your own first tour because same thing I did. And just like you said, venues that, I didn't know anything about advancing shows when I booked my first tour. So I'm like, I booked it. We got a show. Yeah. And then we show up and they're like, who are you guys? I'm like, well, dude, I booked this show with that. Yeah. That guy got fired like 3 months ago. And I'm like, oh shit, and then
you learn to check up and learn to follow.
Right.
Who's your point of contact, getting all the information.
Who's paying you if you're getting paid and all that. Right. I mean,
it's like
bonkers.
I booked tours for other bands before out of just like, I'm helping like, oh yeah, we want to plan a day off. It's like, you don't plan a day off. They're like, what do you mean? Or we're doing a 3-week tour. We should have a day off. I was like, you'll have one. There's always a day off.
There's
not the
inevitably
one you want, but eventually some show is going to get canceled for some reason or another.
Yep.
It just happens. So don't plan a day off. Maybe one if you really are in a city you really want to hang out at or something. But for the most part, you just book everything and hope everything goes fine.
Yeah.
I remember once I went to California and back, and we were in Iowa, and then every show coming back got canceled.
Oh, that's awful.
And I was like, well, that's a long fucking drive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I remember I was in a similar boat where we decided to go south from Minneapolis to San Antonio, then west to San Diego and try to hit, like Albuquerque and Phoenix on the way or something. And it was like, we didn't plan that out very well in the middle of August in a van with no air conditioning. And it's like, 8 to 12 hour drives in between cities and gas is really expensive at the time. And it's like, well, and then we got to one of the shows and there was no show. Right. But this was the gift of that is that the local record store, again, having those kind of 5 entities in every city, like I hit that record store up and they're like, oh, wait a minute. Now we'll get you a show. Hold on. And then all of a sudden, like this scene kind of rallied for us and like put the show together at this video arcade. And we're like, awesome. And so we still ended up with a gig anyway. It's like those stories are so much fun.
And that's the beauty of it, right? I remember I had a show I booked in my early 20s, a tour, and we got to the venue it was a skate park and like, oh, the show was yesterday. I was like, oh, fuck, I messed that up.
Yep.
Like, don't worry, we'll figure something out for you. It's like, okay. Or we got to Austin and the band who was setting up the show for us had broken up the week before, and so they canceled the show but didn't tell us.
Right.
And this is like, 2001.
Sure.
So like, it's there is email, but there's not texting, there's not even MySpace yet.
Right.
I remember the first time I booked really far big out of town bands, like it was like 94, 95. And I brought Less Than Jake and Against All Authority up to play a coffee shop in Fairfax, Virginia. And I got grounded for a week because I called Gainesville long distance. And when I didn't do it at night, like with the cheaper time, and my dad just lost his shit.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was like, what do I know? I was a kid.
Right. No, that's funny. Well, that's awesome, man. So I'm excited for this album to come out. So talk about the album. Is it multiple tracks, or like you said, it's like the side A, side B?
Yeah, it'll be about 20. It'll be the full side, like about 22 minutes on each side.
Okay.
12-inch record.
Yep.
Side A is going to be live.
Okay.
They played their first club. So when I started talking to them, I, being from DC, I have friends and whatnot, and I was like, I'm actually recording this other band called Pickaxe. Let me see if they can put you on the show and record you that night as well. And they're like, oh, we've only ever played like house shows and basements and backyards. So they're like, we're playing a real venue now. I was like, yeah. And like, I don't know, maybe it's like the teacher in me. I have my own teenage kids. Like, sure. I just really like helping kids because they're so joyful over the things that we take for granted.
Yep. Yeah, I hear that.
I have a show. I do shows here in the Hudson Valley, and I'm doing this one at this place called the Unicorn Bar. That's one of the few venues that's all ages in this area.
Okay.
And I have 2 like queercore riot girl bands coming in, one from Vermont and one from New Jersey, Squelch and the Burley Girls. And I'm like, well, I saw this teenage band called Mona Africa play this like benefit show at this charity that my wife volunteers at. I was like, I can never put them on a show because most of the venues are 21 and over, and half of them won't allow you to play if you're under 21. I was
Sure.
like, you know what? I'm gonna give these, and like they're so excited. They're so excited to play a show in their minds that's a real show.
Right. Right. Yep. No. Yep. I remember the first real show. Right. Yeah. Just the whole, my God, we're actually, it's like there's a sound guy.
There's a sound guy. We're on stage. They're miking my
It's
drums.
like there's an actual mic in front of my amp. Like what? Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. That's awesome.
It's just like people are buying tickets to come in.
Right.
It's insane.
That's awesome. That's super cool, man. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and then we're
Yep.
going to come back and talk to you more about the label, anything you're working on in your bands or other bands you want to talk about, or anything else under the sun. So,
Awesome.
everybody, stay with us, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back with Scott from DCPC Live, and we're chatting about kind of what's coming up next for the label and for Scott overall. Scott, tell us what you got coming up that you want to talk about.
I have so many things coming up. As last year somehow I managed to press 16 records,
Wow.
which is a lot for a guy who works all by himself.
Yeah.
The year before that I'd done 9, 6 the year before that, and 4 the year before. So I don't know if I'm going to hit 16. It depends on how records sell, because I usually fund one record with the next.
Sure.
But like, there's a lot I'm excited about. One big one. I don't know if you remember 90 Pound Wuss. They were on Tooth and Nail Records back in the day with like
Okay.
MXPX.
Got it. Okay.
Definitely on the more like aggressive, harder side, not the pop punk.
Sure.
And Tooth and Nail was that like fairly religious sort of label.
Yeah.
They have skewed that. They reformed at Furnace Fest like last year, and like had all like anti-DeSantis and anti-MAGA songs and like gay positive songs.
Cool.
And the record should be out in time for their return to their first show in like the Seattle area where they're from, playing with the middle-aged queers.
Nice.
So I'm really excited to like be their first release in decades.
Awesome.
It's really that's like when a band does something like that and they trust me
Yeah. Right.
to do the thing that they haven't done forever.
That's awesome.
I like it. It's really special to me.
Yep. No, I hear that. So when is that slated for then? What's I don't know.
Well, the release show is May 31st. I
Okay.
should be submitting it to press this week.
Cool.
So usually my pressing plan takes about 12 weeks. So
Okay.
February, so March, April, May, so early May. And so I'll probably do a pre-order. One of the things I do with every record, my covers tend to match the old 1990s VML record lives.
Okay.
I try and pay as much homage to that, not only because it like represents my roots,
Yep.
but it also tends to avoid me having to wait for artwork, because sometimes bands take like a year to get me artwork.
For sure.
So it's very simple. And then what I do is whenever the release comes out, I find the corresponding VML record, buy it on Discogs, or I raffle my own copy if I can't find one.
Yep.
And so like the pre-order people, whoever orders the pre-order record has the option of like winning the test press or the record.
Oh,
I
that's
said
cool.
test press because like the last record I just did with Two Amateur and the Snorts, it was a Teen Idols test press. That's all I could find of the VML. So
Oh,
I
okay.
spent like $40 for a test press and gave it away free to somebody.
Nice.
I'm just that kind of guy, I
That's
guess.
cool. Right on, man. Well, what else do you got coming up? Is there any other specific artists or anything you're working on creatively?
Yeah, so like right now I'm working on different bands I'm trying to do. I am working on my first, I hesitate to call it a festival. It's happening in April. I'm calling it a rally in the valley. It's a 2-day event. It's 4-year anniversary of my record label, and I'm gonna have anywhere from 12 to 16 bands playing, but they're all bands I've either released records or I have records in the works for. So I'm
Nice.
really kind of excited to like celebrate the label, and it's my 49th birthday. And I'm avoiding the whole term fest because something in my mind says if it's a fest, it can't just be at the same venue all day,
It
because then
has
that's
to
just
be,
a really
right.
long show.
Sure. Fair enough.
So
That's
I just struggle with calling something a fest if you just I was like, if there's no food trucks, there's not a bunch of vendors, you're not moving locations, you're
Right.
just booking a really long show.
Yeah. Well, I hope that goes well, man. That sounds like a lot of fun. I had I ran a label out of Minneapolis for a while, and we had
Oh, rad.
kind of a 20-year anniversary show a few years ago, and it was yeah, definitely was not a festival, but it was like a really long show in a venue. But it was like 8 bands, and it was all a bunch of different artists kind of came back together to do it, and it was a really cool. I mean, yeah, it was a celebration of sure what we did when it was, you know, kind of more fresh and full of fervor, you know, like when we were younger. But at the same time, it was like this awesome reunion of everybody coming together and really celebrating the music and all the accomplishments that everybody had, which was really fun. So I'm excited for you that you get to do that even
Thank
for your
you.
4-year anniversary, man. I mean, that's awesome. That's huge.
Yeah. Also,
I'm
it's like,
super stoked for
it's,
that.
I was like, I'm booking Sunday matinees. Well, I'm sorry, Sunday early evening shows at this place in Kingston, New York. I got called out on the Facebook for calling it a matinee because matinees have to start before 4 o'clock, and my show started at 4, so it's not really a matinee. It's an early
Oh,
evening
fair.
show.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, you're very pedantic. It's fine. It's like,
That's crazy. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So, but so I was like, okay, I'm doing these. I'm doing one in April. It's like it's my birthday. It's the
Yeah.
anniversary of the label. I've wanted to do something like this for a while, but I've been in transition. Like I just moved to New York 2 years ago for my PhD. And I
Yep.
was like, all right, I feel stabilized. I've got enough of a hold of the local system. I put out local bands records or I'm recording them so I can have a mix of local bands and bands from DC and Baltimore and New
Yep.
York City and hopefully Ohio. None of the bands from like Florida or California can make it out, but that's okay. I get it. It's a long haul.
Sure.
Maybe if I do it a second year and I prove it has value.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, it's just great that you got so much support from the roster of artists that you've worked with and put out their music. You know, I just think that's awesome that they're all coming together to make it happen.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a celebration, which is like to me is like just the best thing in the world. And hopefully the I mentioned with you earlier, my
yep.
wife and I are doing the cover band of
Yeah.
like the chick songs, and
Sure.
we're probably gonna open up the show on Saturday.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, let's do this and like we'll have 5 songs. We'll open up the show. I'm not sure if I'm going to have my other band I'm working on ready to go yet, but like I'm itching to play drums. I haven't played since September.
Gotcha.
So, and you think like as a drummer, it should be easy to find a band, but I want a band with people I want to hang out with.
Yeah. Right. No, I understand that completely.
It's not always easy.
I completely, I resemble that comment. No, I completely understand that
Yeah.
totally. Um, so where is the best place then for everybody to find all of the artists that are going to participate in the show, anything you're working on, the bands you're releasing, specifically 504 Plan and DCPC Live overall? Is it just socials? Do you have a specific Bandcamp label page
I
or?
actually just have a website that I prefer. I have a
Okay.
Bandcamp, but I prefer my website, just DCPCLive.com.
Okay.
It has links to all the bands.
Great.
It has links to all the albums, t-shirts, plus like a podcast that I just started like a month ago as well.
Awesome.
So, which is called Scene Support, where I
Okay.
interview people that are not in bands.
Yep.
So, like I interview people who are recording engineers, promoters, graphic artists, zine creators,
Nice.
t-shirt screen printers, like all the people that make shit run.
Yep.
Because I kind of feel like 90% of the time we talk to bands,
Yep.
but without all the other people behind the scenes, it wouldn't happen. Maybe I said that because I'm also a behind the scenes guy.
Yeah, no, I hear that completely. That's cool. I will personally look forward to checking that out. Um, and right, so DCPClive.com is the best place to get
Yes,
all the
absolute best place.
information.
And Instagram is probably where I'm most active on social media.
Okay, cool.
I mean, there's Facebook, but
Yeah,
I,
right.
I don't go there very often. I don't even have it cross post, and I just started Blue Sky, but I'm a busy man, and it's hard to post that much social media.
I hear you. I hear you.
You know, I was like, I tried to get my 16-year-old to do TikToks for me, and she does a pretty decent job, but she got bored of doing it.
Sure. Yeah, that's a nut that I have yet to crack is TikTok for real. Like, I mean, I get it, but yeah, not enough
Yeah,
time into it.
and even then, 9 times out of 10, I just posted live videos. But if I was like promoting a show, I would ask her to like make some sort of like, hey, make some sort of announcement about the show. And she
Yeah.
did one based on that TV show Euphoria years ago,
Oh, sure.
and it like blew up. I was like, look at you. She's
Oh, that's
like, yeah.
awesome.
I was like, I don't really know what it has to do with the show at all.
Right. But it got success. That's good.
Yeah. I was like, oh, kid.
I don't know. So it's so weird, like trying to navigate that world when I'm really an analog sort of guy.
Sure. No, yep, I understand that also. Like, I'm interested when you said just one thing I wanted to circle back to about the band. You talked about them recording on a 4-track in their basement. Immediately, I'm having visions of my Tascam cassette 4-track recorder, and I'm like, that can't be what they were using. But I'm like, maybe
It very well could
it
be.
very well could be, and that's super exciting to hear because I mean, right, like, what a
Well,
cool way to learn how to
the
record.
one kid's dad was an old 80s hardcore guy from like LA.
Okay.
So he probably was like,
Yeah,
yeah, get this 4-track. Don't just like grab Pro Tools on your laptop and put up some speakers. The 4-track's the way to go.
for sure. Oh, that's
I mean,
awesome.
I'm sure Pro Tools is fine. I wouldn't know. But people always ask me since I do live records, like, oh, do you do the recordings? I'm like, no.
Right.
No, I don't have that skill set. I work with people that know what they're doing. The closest thing I've ever done is for Florida Underground Fest. I flew down there and I had downloaded a free version of Reaper, and the sound guy at Will's Pub, Tony Murphy, or Tony Budd as he's often called,
Hmm.
like showed me how to hook my laptop up to his 32 like channel board and record each band, like, and then save it as a project. But then I got home, I was like, how do I export these as WAV files? And I had to watch like YouTube videos. Like, it's not my skill set.
No, I hear you. I used to use Pro Tools for a little bit, and funny enough, a buddy of mine turned me on to Reaper. He's like, the license is way cheaper, and it's fairly easy to use comparatively to Pro
Yep.
Tools, which I agree it is. But yeah, some of those things like, how do you just export all these tracks to their individual WAV files is not the most intuitive thing on the planet. But no, that's cool though. I certainly appreciate the old school analog approach, and it's fun to hear that the 504 plan are rocking that on a hopefully a cassette 4-track as well. But
Hopefully. Although
hopefully
I am opposed to the resurgence of the cassette tapes.
that to me, it's funny you say that. That almost feels. I don't frankly get it a little bit. Like it's a little bit of, is this just another thing to sell, or is this like that seems such a like a deliberate, specific. You have to go really out of your way use case to even listen to it. That I'm like, how, who's doing that? Like I
And
don't
that's what
I
I
don't have
say
a
too,
cassette
right?
player. You know what I
Like
mean?
I remember, I think it was 2016, 17, my band in Florida played a release show for a band and they had cassettes. And I was like poking the bear, and I bought a t-shirt that had like the cassette tapes and a pencil fixing them. And then I bought a bunch of pencils and sold them as cassette repair kits next to their table. And I guess it was kind of like not the nicest thing to do. But I also, but I hope they found humor in it.
Well, if not, I sure do. That's awesome. Like, good
Yeah.
job. Like, that's hilarious. Awesome.
But I recently had a buddy of mine. He plays in a band called Assemble, and he does like solo stuff. Matthew William Charles, and he sent me a text message because he's heard me diatribe about tapes before, and he's like,
Sure.
"I sell a lot of tapes, and a lot of them are really good quality. They're not all like cheap, like crappy tapes." And I'm like, I get it. And maybe there are people out there that actually like buy them and put them in their Walkman somewhere that they have because they watch Guardians of the Galaxy and then they bought a Walkman. I saw
Right.
eighth graders do that years ago. But like I imagine most people just get it and put it on like their shelf the same way you buy like a figurine.
Right.
And that's fine. But I want to put out music that people listen to.
Yeah. Now I hear that.
That being said, I think studies always show that like most people don't even listen to half the records they have.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I try and listen to a record every day minimum, but even there are days where I don't have time to sit down and listen to a record, and all my listening is on like streaming services in my car.
That's for sure. I mean, I do my best to support any artist that I know that's putting out vinyl that I, like and love. I buy their vinyl.
Yep.
I have a turntable, and does it always get used? No, because I'm either streaming it from the Bandcamp app or I'm, a different social or streaming service, because then I can just hear it while I'm driving or doing something else.
Sure.
But I always want to support anyone who's putting out vinyl, just because
And that's what's so
that's how I
fascinating
grew
with
up
my
on.
releases. Some bands don't want to put the releases on streaming at all. Probably in some cases because like, oh well, they're live and we have the studio versions of the same song, so why double them up?
Some people just want to keep the vinyl special and unique. Some people just don't want to pay to do it, and I'm not paying for it because it gives me nothing.
Right.
So I put out the record. I'm not paying for your digital.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, Scott, thank you so much for all of this, man. It's been super cool, like getting to know you, what you do, and your passion behind all of this, all the bands you're helping, all the music you're putting out, and I'm just super stoked for everything you're up to, and I really appreciate you reaching out, and I'm glad we were able to chat today, man.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you're doing. I'm going to continue checking out your podcast, buddy.
Thanks, Scott.
Three Crows Club presents B-Side Breakdown.
Showed my therapist a song I did, and she told me I was talented. I said thanks, I wrote it when I was depressed.
Are you proud of me?
Told my psychiatrist to change my meds, and they just upped my dosage instead. I said thanks, I knew I could count on you.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Say it gets worse before it gets better. If the glasses are full, does it actually matter? And what doesn't kill you just makes you sadder. So screw it, I'll just play.
All right, and that wraps up another episode of the B-Side Breakdown. I want to thank Scott Pasch from DCxPC Live Records for coming along to talk about the song Call to Action by the band 504 Plan that he just recently released. I also want to thank Adam Coulong and Carrie Bozel for helping me put together the jingle you hear at the beginning and the end of the episode. In the background, you're listening to a song called Sayaya Duck by Indoor Friends. If you like what you're hearing, please go back and listen to the previous episode because that's what it was all about. Up next, I'm having a redo of an episode with the Snorts. We recorded an episode, and I don't know how, but I completely lost the conversation. And Aaron's unbelievable sweetheart and willing to do this again. So we're going to chat about the song, possibly Weird But Okay, but maybe others on their record. And I'm super stoked for you to hear that. So I'm going to play Weird But Okay for you at the end of this to give you a taste. Anyway, thank you everyone for your continued support. Please subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And stay sane out there and stay safe if you can. And we'll talk soon. Thanks.